So much. I think it's now time that we loop in the specialist, of course, Patrick Miner, who's a mentor and also a motivational speaker, counselor for that matter, and of course a person who's dealt with children a lot. He goes around the country, traveling the world, and trying to talk and speak to the children and also the parents on the best way of raising these kids. And I think it's pertinent that we also get to know and learn what he has to say as to the subject of the day. If only you could hear me, you are hearing me, Maichmaich. Are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Linda.
How are you? Good afternoon.
Afternoon too.
Thank you so much for finding time, of course, to join us on this program, the program Social Africa, of course, as we address the question of parenting and how best the parents have armed themselves up to actually deal with these millennials, you know, the 21st century kids.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Of course, with me on the panel is Rose Gishure, and we also have Babu Biko. We've been handling this program, for a long time on our very own, but we felt like it's important that we get the view of a specialist on it. So I think straight to the matter, as you say hi to the viewer, what is your take about the 21st century parenting, or more so the digital parenting, and how best our parents are equipped to handle this?
Thank you, Linda. Let me tell you, Linda, one thing and the very important thing we are doing is to bring such debates and such issues. Because time has reached for us to face the reality to the truth. And Linda, one thing I believe in my life is a component of life changes. Life goes, today we are being in this swag, tomorrow in this swag. Today our parents lived this way, behavior is like this. The way my parents grew is not the way we are growing. And we can look so many components that we did before, and we can try to compare them. But the question comes, how do we do it now? We can talk about holistic. What is holistic? How is holistic? And to me, as an expert, and the guys call me Maichmaich, it's all about the children approach. How are the children? Where are they today? And I tell parents in the 21st century that no matter how you want children to change, it's for us to look at how is things changing. The children today, they are so much ahead, even in technology, than ourselves. But ourselves as parents, are we growing with that new technology? We are still assuming and bringing them in that old technology. And that's where they are not meeting. That's why we are not meeting the youth. That's why we are not meeting the children. We still believe that they go to school and this is enough. And I agree with many parents that we need to eat, we need to take them to school. So the money component is of paramount importance. But I work for this child. Why should I work so hard, get money, child go to good school, but the behavior of the child end up in a rehab? What is the need of it? Then it will be all easier to go that way. So my take and my point is this, Linda. Parents, to me, I go back, me as a parent, to look at myself. It is me who have wisdom, Proverb 24:13. I have wisdom. I'm ahead of this child. It is me to study more on the behavioral patterns of today's society. And the moment when I study more and I understand where they are, I have a moral authority over the child. It is me to understand in Facebook. Am I in Facebook to understand what they're talking? Why just let no, it's for youth, it's for kids. And you leave it like that, then they start doing things. And I'll tell you, Linda, parental or peer influence have become more powerful than parental influence. And having said this, parents need to study and to learn and to be in touch. And there is no syllabus on parenting the 21st century. No syllabus. I can say earlier, as my sister said, we had a syllabus that the child belongs to the community. The child could even be corrected. It's not a stipulated syllabus, but it was a cultural syllabus. The child, I could be disciplined by my neighbor. Today, the syllabus belongs to Maichmaich alone, to Linda alone, I just thought.
I know.
So, how am I putting up my game to learn? One, by listening. I had been in a school X, and there was a time I was talking to the parents, and here come a child in standard 7. And when I was talking to the parent, he was telling me, maybe I would love to know my child better. But to her, she knows the child in and out. My child is a my friend. He understands me. She understands me. We talk, we share, and everything. But on the other side, because we have been doing mentorship on life skills, the child tells me, I hate my mother. But to the mother, she knows the mom and the child, they are in one car. But the child is so different. The children will do what we want. They have known the game.
Oh.
These people know the game. It's like right now, so when shoulder.
Let me give her what she wants. After all, that is a strategy towards avoiding trouble. Yeah.
Okay, that's the point. Let me give you an example, Linda. A small example. Now the children are close to the school.
Yeah.
There is a report form. The truth, there is subjects they have failed and the ones they have not failed. They know me as a parent or Linda as a parent. They will already atapiga kelele. Yeah. So they are set with the shock absorbers on how to handle that noise of 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
They're already shocked. It's just like me. If I mess a bit, I am already set. When my wife asks me, I know how to do some mechanical approach. What if during this time to know this child better, instead of I look at that report form, in the number one, the first day I don't even ask for a report form. Yeah. I just say, hey, thank you, welcome. This and this. If the child releases the report form to me, fine. I look what the child have done good. Yeah. But as I pass my eyes, I will see one, she have not or he have not done good. I will not comment on it because already he have a shock absorber to attack it. Either by silence, either by creating a lie or something. So I will not comment on that. And I will tell my child, hey, my girl, or my boy, oh, well done, you're doing good at this and this, keep it up. And I buy cuckoo that day. And the child will be like, wow. And I wait for the child to calm down psychologically. A week later, without the paper on my table, and as we talk like this, and ask, hey, baby, by the way, niliona mathematics umechanganyika. Kweli kunaendaje? Do you know by that child does not have the mechanism for lying and everything? The child will say, Dad, let me tell you, 1, 2, 3. The child start opening up. Because she is responding without pressure. Many times, we as parents, we are handling these kids when they have done wrong, when there is pressure of studies, when there is something for them to do, is when even we tell them, I will get somebody to talk to you. Already we are provoking them, but are we friends? Because as we talk about holistic approach, my question as an educator, which is that holistic? And how? Many times parents, we need to answer the question, how? In today's life, I've been lecturing university and students write for me a holistic approach and we need this and this, but it becomes a debate. Let's come out from debate to reality. Parents, we need to understand. Parents, we need to become friends in those Facebook with our kids. Know their friends, by that knowing their friends, without condemning, but looking at methodology. If you realize some stickiness and some lights about things are not going right, then look for approach.
All right. Thank you so much, Maichmaich. Of course, as we proceed, I think I'll also want to loop in my panel so that they also ask you some bit of questions if they have any. But before we even go to the panel, there's this aspect of overprotecting. The moment you realize some of these things, the moment you know the activities of your child, you tend to feel like you want to protect them before they get into a ditch. And this aspect brings about anxiety. As a parent, you get that, you get anxious, and you start developing some level of fear that make you take activities that are not so good. That is what makes you address these kids even when you do not realize the level of pressure that they are in, and you just want to loop in yourself and protect them before they fall into that ditch. So this aspect of overprotecting and trying to understand exactly the activities of our kids, don't you feel at some point then would be a way of landing the kids even into more troubles, as then you deny them that chance of learning how best they can be independent?
That's absolutely, that is true. Overprotecting. I will tell you, one thing is we are doing that out of love. Every parent have that compassionate love and want the child to be the best. Every parent. But now, overprotection is us, we are lacking a skill. A skill in that is become, we have unfinished business and we lack methods on now handling that issue. That's why you become overprotective. Hence, instead of now helping the child, tunajibamba sisi wenyewe. And that's why you hear parents saying, hey, ule naongelesha na watu wengi, hata nimemuongelesha. Why? Because it is based on my method, not her method or his method. So I think it is as parents to look on how to get more workshop and training. When I realize something and I'm anxious on it, how do I approach it? How do I face it? If I realize my child has started developing devious behaviors, and without losing moral authority, how do I enter to that game? Let me give you an example of the Bible. Jesus on the way to Emmaus. Jesus, what he did, he joined the two guys who are gossiping Jesus. You can remember the story.
Yeah.
And when he joined the two, they did not know Jesus is within there. So what did they do? They became three and they continued gossiping. So Jesus became a friend. They became friends who are gossipers. So Jesus got moral authority to correct them. And I remember I quoted the Bible says, and he said, you stupid men, till when will you know the man of God is within you? So in the same approach, I'm not saying we join them in their funny things, but we get an approach to get a bit of their area and see what they're doing, maybe through friends, through business. If I know there is something very serious, now I don't know how to approach it, how do I get Linda, who is my neighbor, or how do I get another one to approach it? So we need corroborate approach. We need to go back, as my sister have said, to the old curriculum where the child belongs to the community, but with different method. Earlier is by beating, I will be beaten and I learn. Today you will not beat them. But how do I team up with my neighbor and the other one? And they see my neighbor is good with 13 to 18. And me, I'm good in 18 to 25. So with that corporate approach, then I can help my neighbor. Or my neighbor can help my child. I might not have everything. But if parents in where we live, for example, Linda, in estate we are living, think about an estate like in Buruburu or somewhere. We are living in a community. If that community, and that's why I talk about Nyumbakumi, I support Nyumbakumi a lot, not based only in security, but based also in security and behavioral of the children. If those people work as a team, as a community in that estate, trust me, we get more authority over our children.
All right. Thank you so much. At least we loop in now the panel. And of course, I'm sure they have questions to this, or maybe comments to what Maichmaich has said. And of course, I am asking the question of time. Time is change. Times have changed, and we have acknowledged that, and hence as a parenting. But then again, of course, that aspect that Rose was talking about. Sometimes, where do we even get time? Within our very own busy schedule, how do we crack down to that level whereby we can meet to the needs of the children? Because most of the times nowadays, we only think about providing for them, protecting them, giving that security, but we fail so much in giving them life skills, of course, for, arming themselves proper, of course, for the future troubles and the way they would actually behave in future. So Babu Biko, I loop you in, and I'm sure you've grown within this period, this digital period. So you're able to challenge some of the things that actually Maich is saying, or even, concur with them.
No, I think just a question I wanted to ask him. I think it is what we were trying to address in the morning. The topics of sexual education and financial education. We are talking about right now, you're seeing a lot of young people are going into debt because of a lack of financial literacy. And one of the questions we asked was, at what age do you actually start talking about them, about matters to do with finances and sex? And two, how do you approach such a situation?
Wow, that's good. Now, Linda, this is me.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to finance and everything, to me, we might not have exact this is the age. But my approach could be, when you think about finance, it is that if my child is in class 2, for example, and my child in school, they can buy 1, 2, 3. In class 2, I'll tell you how much is mandazi or how much is sambosa, this and this in this. I'll give, maybe if the mandazi is 5 shillings and say this, I'll give 15 shillings intentionally. And I tell, how much did you buy? This and this and this. So what balance did you get? Yeah. So what can you do with that balance? I start installing values. Children are different. Some will start at this age, and others at this age. But I think, but the word go, when you observe, Erickson talks about behavioral changes. Some will grow very fast, some are slow in growing based on behavioral. So based on finance, try small things. I am going to supermarket with my child, and he said, I want this and this and this. I will go with that, take that Corolla and everything, and I ask, what do you want this one? How much is it? Yeah. So if I give you this amount, what will be the balance? This and this. So whatever else you wanted, can it cost this? So the child takes me. I'm observing. I'm educating finance. So to me, it might not be the specific time of age to train finance, but as you observe the child, I started the tool. When the child starts saying this is 10 shillings, this is 20 shillings. Yeah. In school, they're learning about mathematics. 5 minus 2 is how much. They're learning that. They're also learning about shillings. So I bring that on now life skills based on what they learn. That could be my approach on finance.
Goes the next
and Linda, when now by the time they are reaching maybe standard 5, even the shopping, I allow them. I will tell them, no, write for me a budget. First, we start together writing the budget. What do you want this? How much this? What do you want this? How much this? So, and we go together. I allow the child to speak, to pick everything. And when you're going to pay, I want the child to start now paying and see what is the change. So by that time, I'm training the child how to plan, how to develop a budget. So by Form 1, I will never do the shopping. I will expect the child to give me the list. And then we can start elimination method together on that list, because also they might take even junk 24/7 or something which is not, I'll not say it's not bad, but I will want the child. By the way, when you take these, what could be the benefit or what could be the challenging components? Why do you need this over this? So by that time, I'm dealing with them. That could be my approach.
All right. Same applies on matters, sexual education?
Very good. When it comes to sexual education, it's becoming challenging because the media have blown out completely. I will tell you, I had a child in one place, and this child was in study 2. And I was very shocked what the child was telling me, study 2. And the child could talk about my girlfriend. The child could talk about that boy I was talking to. I told me, I have 2 girlfriends. Flani and Flani, study 2.
And they're so proud about it, by the way.
Oh, of course, in our time, in our own syllabus, if you tell me that this is your girlfriend, I cry and I report you to the teacher. Yeah. But today, in fact, when I was born in Dando, I remember, if even by standard 4, standard 5, you report, you tell me Flani is my girlfriend, that is a police case, teacher's case. And I will be punished for that. But today, study 2, they are aware of this.
Yeah.
Study 2, Linda, they are operating your phone. So as they operate your phone, they are even entering some other sites which are educating. So I think we need to style up and observe behavioral patterns on sexual components. But also, on the other hand, there is somebody in study 3 who does not know anything about that, depending with the social analysis of that child. A child who is in the reserve area, I'm not saying you don't know, and a child who is living in Eastland, and a child living in Mokaiga side, all those 3 children in sexual components are different, and the approaches are different. So it is also hard to put, unify these could be the approach. But I think it's me as a parent to be more sensitive and the community to try to observe the components. One school I went in Mombasa, and the principal of the school told the parents, from now I want you to buy kabambe for your kids. This is a high-level school. Kabambe for the kids. And I could not understand this principle. I came to understand later because I came to know that at 5, 6 they have phones and they have everything touch. So by the time Mwalimu was talking of Kababe, later I sat down with Mwalimu because I was invited as a guest. Why did you say about Kababe? And I saw she had a sense. This one they're having, Saturday 5, maybe their touch and everything, they are educative, but also destructive,
yeah.
and especially when it comes to sexual component. Yeah.
So you'd rather give them kabambe and they will not have access to some of these
totally
things.
agree
Yeah,
with that,
it's a
Crystal.
strategy, it's a nice strategy to stop them from, by the way, accessing this other one, the smartphones for that matter. Thank you so much, Maichmaich. But of course, I come to Rose Geshure to address the questions that Maichmaich has brought aboard. A very important, very pertinent point for that matter. And being a parent, probably you can chip it and maybe be able to challenge some of the things that he's actually said for the benefit of the viewer.
I surely agree with him a lot. And Maichmaich, hi. I have a question for you because I'm one of those people who really believe in our African culture because it has so many values that you cannot run away from.
Sorry, you believe
in our African culture?
Very good.
And the way we collaborated in bringing up our children was very right. And my argument is this: if my child grows up well, and my neighbor's child grows up badly, I will not be able to control when they meet who will influence who. So how are we going to get parents to collaborate in this upbringing of our children? Because we become such a selfish society whereby it's, you only serve your own interests. And that's why if I meet a child who is behaving badly and I punish them, I may find myself in court. So how do we find ways of ensuring that parents can be able to collaborate to bring up a sane society?
Very good. I love that. There is something called inculturation. Inculturation is where you try to bring one system to another system to see where you meet. And if I got you right, you talked about, I bring up my child well, another one bring up to the child age with challenges, and they meet. And as I earlier said, peer influence becomes powerful.
Yeah.
And where do we come in? I believe, my dear, in this philosophy, a tuk-tuk philosophy. Tuk-tuk philosophy is the front wheel ni moja, and behind there are two wheels. Is it true?
Yes.
So the two behind wheel pushes the front, and the front have to move.
All right.
So for this to work, because I will not have my school for my child alone, no matter how I brought the child well. And on the other side, I have to allow the child to mingle and grow also. Students together, they grow a lot, either positively or challenging. So the tuk-tuk, the front wheel is the child. The left wheel or the right wheel, whichever format you can put, one is the parent and the other one is the teacher. If these three wheels can work in hand, I am very sure we can be in a position to influence, and especially the behind wheels. I feel so challenged even when I brought up my child well, and then I go to school and tell Mwalimu, you are the one spoiling my child, or this school is spoiling my child. Instead of me looking at positively and dealing up, because I might be having positive thinking and a well-up way of bringing the child, and the other parent does not have, even does not care. So if I team up with this Mwalim and we collaborate and become friends, we'll be in a position to know the child. And we'll be in a position, and that's why we have the chairman for, the class representative parents and this. Then we'll be in a position to get outsiders, mentors, who now become mechanic. We are a mechanic of the wheel 1 or wheel 2 or wheel 3. These mentors who are mechanic, they will be in a position to extract what is happening between the parents and between the child. Then collaborate together with the two wheels, the parent and the teacher, to see how to approach the child. Because I believe your child that you brought very well also have an influence of positiveness. How do we empower that child positiveness? Because a child and a child will influence each other better. So if we empower your child who is positively and even come up with mentorship programs, your child will be speaking louder than the one who is negative. And the one who is, the child will say, no, that's not good. There's nothing powerful like when one child tells the other child, no, that's not right. I think right is good. And all of them, they are thinking.
Yeah.
so becomes powerful. So it's all about collaborate approach. And if we can allow this to work, and parents, and especially when they're calling school or when they have, or even developing programs for their class, then we can achieve this. And especially in extracting, there's a method called extracting from the children, what the children know. We are so much of telling them. Telling, don't, telling. So in Africa, badly they close their ears indirectly. Hii mother say niambia, lakini inabo. So I think it's us to get approach, then use the kids in school which are positive and make them shine more than the other ones, so that they can use the peer influence on transformation. That could be my take.
All right. What then is the role of the kid as we get to wind up on you, of course? What is the role of the kid moving forward? Because we cannot keep blaming it on the parent. Of course, the role of the kid and how best we can redefine, parenting as we get to wind up, of course.
Linda, very good question. The role of the kids. Allow me to come psychologically. Between age 1, class 1 to class 5, the child knows 2 people. And will be a witness with our children. The child knows my parents, my mom or my dad, and a teacher.
Yes.
Teacher said. You get my point?
Yeah.
Teacher said this. No, my mom said. After class 6, the child starts developing critical thinking. For example, maybe study 3, he was told nuclear family is 1, 2, 3, 4. And he believes in that. But there is an answered question which are not there, and they are not answered. Because I am a single mother, and teacher said nuclear family is father, mother. So from class 6 to me, it is the best time to start now framing or nurturing the mentorship component, so that I'll be in a position, a mentor will be in a position now to start structuring, to bring life issues, to know that life does not belong to my mom. My mom, she's a single mother, I like it or not, it happened, what happened, but I can still move on. I am not number 1, I am number 10, but I can improve. Is where now mentors come and hit the children, because at the end of the game, it is the ball of the child. So the child, we must never stop talking to the children, even as parents. We continue talking to the children, and we get other people who can now extend. They are not a parent, and they are not their parents in biological, and they are not their teacher, and it's an outsider. So when that person talks, he will be affirming the word that the brother and the father said, and the word teacher said, and they say, wow, this one is wrong. So that at the end of the game, the child must own. It's called the child must be autonomy. Even as we are autonomous, we are unique by our own structures and thinking and everything. At a Mapacha, we are autonomous, unique. So help the child to know the game is mine, the ball is mine. I usually give them an example of, think of a runner who cannot see, and this person is blind. And this person, for him to become a gold winner, like we have an example in this country, this person needs someone, a helper, ambaye anamshika mkono, to run together. So as they run together, without this helper, you cannot win the gold medal. True or false?
True.
So this helper is very much important. But on the other hand, if you win, the helper will not be seen in the newspaper. You will see Maichmaich. The present is Maichmaich. Let the children know this helper is the parent, this helper they are very important, and they need them for them to win, because they are blind in their own way. So, but the winning, what will be gazetted, what will be on top, it is not my parent, it is Maichmaich. Let the children understand the game is theirs, as we can only celebrate. It is their ball. So children have the biggest role, but parents have a higher responsibility to mentor them, to nurture them to the right thing.
Thank you so much, Maichmaich. I think that was a great session. Of course, though very short. And I think I'll let you go finish up with what you were doing, and I'll catch up with you later on. But it's been great. We've learned so much. Before I come back to the panel, of course, on them giving us parting shots. I say 30 seconds of parting shots.
Thank you very much, Linda. I'm telling you, one thing I'll tell you, keep it up, and I wish you bring more on parenting. Bring more of these shows where it will not end up in debate, it will end up with a realistic approach. Let's give the audience a realistic approach. And parents, I wish you the best. Know every child look forward to you. Whatever you are at every children are total duplicate, or not duplicate, photocopy of what? You behave well, you handle them well, they are photocopy of ourselves. How we behave and how we carry ourselves will determine how the children are. Just do our part and God will do his part.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Positive response, of course, from the viewer. And of course, we look forward to have you joining us at some other time on another session. Thank you.
Very much, Linda.
All right. God bless. Of course, back to my panel. I think it's almost a done deal on the program, unless there's anything else you guys would want to top up as to the question of parenting. And moving forward, I'd want you to address the question of how best we can really find then the role, of course, for it to be more or less of preparation for the future as opposed to protection, which most of the parents do. I want to protect my kid at that particular time. I don't want them to cry because I have denied them something at this particular time. I just want to protect their feelings, but I fail to see the future repercussions of this. So let it be more of preparation as opposed to protection. How best can we do this?
Yeah, I think to address, I think Maichmaich has really given us some really good insights, and I think he was basically corroborating some of the stories or some of the examples that I was giving. You sometimes have to come back and meet your children halfway in terms of this. And there was one example he gave about asking for a report. The report card. There's a way you can ask that will really help, and then there's a way you can ask that will make them close up and never talk to you about it ever again. They already come with shock absorbers, and it's always essential. Even in psychology, I thought if you ever want to win an argument, always ask questions. You get more out of a person when you ask questions rather than when you try to force your own point of view every time. So I think that is essential if you want your child to open up. Why are you failing? What happened in mathematics this time? What happened in chemistry? Instead of why are you failing and Nani is passing and you're in the same class. You understand? There is that kind of victimization. In terms of addressing, I think, social media also, some parents have found a back way towards it, but most children don't like to be friends of their parents.
Yeah. They block you automatically.
They block you, but of course, if you're a sharp parent,
you are
you're already there. And it's always good, and it's good to always. I think it's essential to always observe, changes. Why, if your child especially is very outgoing, all of a sudden, they just lock themselves. I mean, there is that stage usually in Form 2 where they just become wild and everything. But it's always good to try and curb it, but not protect. What I think most parents. I'm not a parent, but I think what most parents do is they protect so much, the children become entitled. The children become useless without you. They cannot fight their own battles. And that is why I usually say sometimes it's good to say no to some things. Sometimes it's good to give proper explanation and to make the child from an early age understand that sometimes things happen. And sometimes things might not happen the way you want them to, but that's okay. You need to be resourceful enough to find a way to get this shock absorber. Let me give an example of a movie I was watching yesterday where there was this young girl who lost a teddy bear. And the parents, it's an American movie, the parents are white, and they struggled to find this teddy bear because the kid kept on crying and is throwing tantrums about it. And with that, you're telling that child you're entitled to everything. The other option would have been to say, it has happened, it's gone, there is nothing much we can do about it, but this is what we can get you another, make that child understand sometimes things happen.
All right.
You understand? So I think it's very, very good points that Maich has given, and we hope some of it, as we continue, as he has actually suggested, we can do more parenting shows.
All right, I think I agree. And how many times do we tell them no? And how many times do we follow up the no with explanation as to why? By the way, lost it yourself. So why do you come here ranting and crying that you've lost it? Next time you need to be cautious. You're never going to get this again and all this, everything. And that's why sometimes we miss the mark. And I think that's basically what Babu Biko has brought aboard, pertinent points, and also what Maichmaich has brought aboard. Of course, I'll certainly want to hear what Rose has to say as to, the preparation of the futures as opposed to protecting them at this particular time. You just give them short-term solutions and you overlook the lifetime lessons that they would have learned, the lifetime solutions that they would have, gotten.
As he was talking, I was thinking about these people who've excelled so much in life. And a good example locally is the Maichmaich Quartet.
Quartet, yeah.
You've seen the way the parents act as a coach and a guide, and they're always there to help them thrive in life. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they're perfect. It doesn't mean that they don't make mistakes, but the parents are always there to enable them grow that talent that is within them. Yeah. But again, the mistake we make is protecting, not wanting your children to deal with the consequences of their behavior. When you are talking about losing a pet, if you lose your whatever it is, cry, it's okay. Like for my children, I say, sit there, just cry, it's okay, deal with your consequences. Then from there we can talk now, how can we deal with it? Instead of telling the child, sorry, I'll buy you another one. From where? It is not possible. Especially when, for example, yes, that is the truth. You bought your child something and they do that a lot. You buy something today, tomorrow it's broken. Then you are there trying to tell pamper them, I'm sorry, I'll buy. That is a wrong approach, and it's actually protecting them. It's good to allow them to cry. Then from there you can talk about it and say, you see, money is not just gotten like that. And maybe we need to, you will not be able to replace it. We'll have to stay for a long time without it. Then you can deal with consequences of your action. Then coming to acting as a guide, availability is very, very important. Why am I saying that? Because our children are growing. There are so many things around them that they don't understand. And if they don't understand and there's no one to tell them the truth, they'll get that information from sources which are not good. Yeah. But if you are there, you are available, that's when you'll become their friends. They'll tell you, this is what happened, how can I deal with this? And you'll be able to hold their hands. I've been playing this thing in my head and I'm looking at all those successful people like Beyonce, for example. The mother is always on the side, correcting her and holding her hand, not really protecting her, but helping her to thrive in life. And the Maichmaich Quartet, for example, we have even Tesla, we have...
It's almost like a lifetime job.
Exactly, it's a lifetime. And when we try to run away from our parental responsibility by compensating for money, that is where we go wrong. Because most of the time, we are working so hard right now to ensure they're in school, to ensure they get food, to ensure they have clothing and all that. But when we lose them, who will we be working for? How will our old age be? Like, you're just crying because your child is a drug addict. They can't fend for themselves. He's a drunkard. They can't provide for themselves. So I think it's very, very important. And that's why I've never been against women who take off to take care of their children. It's very, very important because that is something that you will never replace. I keep on saying companies will come and go, work will come and go, but your child is irreplaceable because this is a gift from God. It's good to nurture it and take care of it and ensure that you walk the journey. Another thing, our children will keep on making mistakes because they're not grown. They're discovering things. It's not good to, our parents approached us as people who should be knowing everything. And that's why they used to whip us very seriously when you do a mistake.
I know.
But right now, because we understand a child is experimenting and they really don't know, that's when we guide them instead of whipping them and punishing them so severely, yet they will not understand. It's good to walk with them. I think that is what I've gotten from Maich.
Wow, thank you so much. One of the best shows I've had ever. I've learned so much in terms of parenting. I've known the things that I need to do. I've known that it's important to befriend my little boy and just be friends with them, understand the changes in the trends, of course, and just learn how the things are changing right now so that you're able to guide them in the best way possible. Above everything, find time for them. Let us not have this excuse of, trying to find money here and there so that they go to the best of schools. What is the essence of them going to the best of schools when they do not have these values instilled in them? Above everything, when you say no, follow up with an explanation. Later, find the best time to address the key issues of life and so so much more that we have learned. Thank you so much, Rose Geshure. Thank you so much, Babu Biko. And above everything, thank you so much, of course, to Maichmaich. We call him Maichmaich because it's the cool name that he normally uses around. But of course, he is a Patrick Minor, a mentor and a counselor for that matter. It's been great. We've learned so much. And I think for that matter, we do not want to continue more because we might just end up spoiling the entire lesson that we have had. A great, great lesson. And that's where we end up Social Africa. My name is Linda Alela. Thank you so much again, my panel, and also the viewer for finding time to listen to us. It's my hope and prayer that you have learned so much as to parenting. Of course, we'll be having more of this just so we keep us up to speed on the 21st century way of parenting. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.